Good morning, everybody. So I want to show you guys a brief idea for a framework of moving between tilted atoms, vertical versus vertical, and crosshair atoms. That includes bending, and it's pretty fun because you can make like pretty large connected patterns and transition between the types of atoms. So I'm not going to blather too much. I'm just going to start showing you. So if you just spin both of them forward in a buzzsaw and tip them both out 45 degrees so they're perpendicular to each other, like this, diagonally, uh, it's kind of cool. There's a point where you can take and just kind of imagine there's a line coming straight out of your chest, and that's the axis or the pole of the atom, the shared axis of the atom, right? If you turn that 90 degrees, you'll have to mess with it for a second, but there's a point where you can do it, blink, and they just sync together really well. Like, just feel it. I haven't really figured out the actual timing of it. I think it might just be when they're both up and down. Because they're like slightly before they're both up and down is when you initiate the turn. But you'll be surprised at how easily it moves around like this. They're staying perpendicular to each other the whole time. The other thing is that it works moving down too. So you can move from this one right into your vertical versus vertical. And the cool thing about this is if I have the vertical versus vertical here in front of me, it looks like opposite direction to you. If I turn 90 degrees, I end up in this one, which is basically a wavy weave. Wink. But if I go from bend to bend and then bend down, now it's not wavy weave style. It's actually bent so that what you were seeing before is now 90 degrees that way. Right? I hope that makes sense. But doesn't it look like now they're going split time, same direction? So I can turn 90 degrees now and my wavy weave is facing you. So I've bent that system just enough, but it's stayed kind of the same. Kept my hands together the whole time. You know what I mean? So it's always been an atom. I really like that idea. And another thing, to get to the reverse of this, you can just bend it down, turn around, and then bend it back up. And that bends too. And the cool thing is as you bend this one, I'm going in reverse, whereas all of the demonstrations I showed you before, I was going in forward. There's my wavy weave again. That was sloppy. Bend down. Walk around it. Bend it back up. Bend, bend. Now I'm back and forward. Wavy weave. So that's kind of neat. And the other thing to think about is like if you use air wraps. So, okay, now it gets a little bit weird. So if you start forward, bend the tops outward of your buzzsaw, bend the tops out so the perpendicular is like that. Experiment also with bending the bottoms out. And you'll see what Arashi calls this is valley mode, because you can see they're making a V, like a valley, right where they pass each other. This is valley mode, and he calls this one mountain mode, right? Because they're making a mountain shape. The weirdest part about diagonal atomics or tilted atomics is that when you turn 180 degrees from the buzzsaw variation, this one, if I was to turn 180 degrees, I'll show you from the side. So this, take my word for it, this is valley in front of me. Book. If I turn 180, now you'll notice it's mountain in front of me. So that's weird. It's cool. I mean, you'll get used to it after a while. The system maintains, and it's because the diagonals, you have to move your hands. Experiment it, and you'll know what I'm talking about once you play with it a little more. But the reason that this is cool for so the relationship is if you're valley going forward, you're going to be mountain going reverse. And if you're mountain going forward, you're going to be valley going reverse, right? So there's a correlation there. They're two systems that, unless you break or bend, won't really interact with each other. But what's cool is if we do this, we bend it down, we walk around it, and then we bend it up. So I'm valley, right? Bend it down into the vertical versus vertical, walk around it, bend it up. Now I'm valley again. But this is forward valley, reverse valley. So that's, if you consider what's going on there, we're mixing the two systems. And like I said, they don't mix unless you're bending, and we are bending from there to there, and then to there. So there is a bend involved. But the other way to get from valley to mountain mode would be like, if you're here, you can bend it down, and then, oh shit. That would be an air wrap, if I nailed it. Bam. Oh, come on. Well, anyway, you get the point. If you know how to do atomic air wrap, that goes, it's pointing in towards me. It's pointing away from me now. So if I bent it up, there's mountain, bend it down, do my air wrap, and I bend it up, and it's valley now. So that's another way to switch between the two systems. You can actually even do those bends like with diagonal versus diagonal air wraps. It's a little bit wonky like that, but you can do it. You could even do these ones like that. So that valley versus mountain system applies like vertical, tilted, and crosshair. And that's the last thing I want to touch on is if we're tilted like this, we bend down, then you can just adjust your positioning to the atom by about 45 degrees, and then just anti-spin one out and iso bend this one. And now you can, I had to bend to show you, but you can see that we're now in our crosshair atomics. Boink. Crosshair atomic, tilted atomic, and different polarity, you know. So I guess that's the last thing, not the last thing, I've said that like 3 times now. So if you go from, like, you'll notice they're both going the same direction in the buzzsaw when I bend it. If you were to take a butterfly buzzsaw style thing, or opposite direction buzzsaw, and bend it out, that creates another atom. I'll show you that from the front. Bend that out, boom, there's this atom. And then the same thing, if we bend the bottom out, that gives us a different atom, but they seem to be going in the reverse direction. I mean, they seem to be going in opposite directions of each other according to the vertical plane, and the same direction as each other according to the horizontal plane. So it's fucking weird, but it's interesting. And so how do we incorporate that? Well, same kind of concept, bend down into our, oh yeah, and with all those, we can also bend up into vertical as well. Like, just like that. Oops. But now if we, let's say, start with mountain mode for this one, it's way easier. Now you can turn 90 degrees here. So, let me show you that from the side. We got mountain one going on, bend it down, step 90 degrees around it, and then bend it up. And we're in, ta-da! This is the opposite direction, valley mode, or mountain mode. But it's just a cool little system to be able to connect all the different atoms together without having to take your hands apart from each other. And so you can maintain the illusion of an atom the entire time, and you can move it through the, like, octahedral points, you know? And so you can, like, have atoms inside of the framework of an atom, and oh, it's awesome. So I hope that's inspired you to play around with these things, and I hope you have fun when you do it. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy.